Hey guys, today is April 11th of 2018, and just doing a quick update on emotional, physical changes. I've been on testosterone for over 6 years now, and the only thing about the testosterone is the shot's starting to hurt in the leg, and I think that's just because the skin's gotten thicker. Excuse me. As far as changes are concerned, it's really weird because I've had a hair issue. I've reported that a few times on the videos. I was on an allergy pill and I had lost almost all my body hair. And I'm one of these guys that have hair all over my back, my shoulders, everywhere. And I took myself off that medication and my hair started growing in. Well, everything's almost back to normal except for I have bald spots. So I have shoulder hair, and then my arms right here are bald, and then I have my forearm hair, and in certain spots on my forearm, you can't tell because of the lighting. I have a line of when it gets wet. I have a line of dark hair here, but I'm pretty much bald. It's real thin, uh, but yeah, that's weird. And my legs, uh, just below my knee to the mid calf is real hairy, and then the rest is bald. I'm just like, my back is hairy, my stomach is hairy. I don't know if you can, yeah, I don't think you can see. Um, yeah, but that's kind of weird. I'm getting lots of ear hair to a point where they're itching my ears, so my wife goes and plucks them for me. I do take my um, trimmers, my beard trimmers, and try to bump them and get the hair without looking. But yeah, she'll go in and pluck them. The nose hair, like I've said before, drives you crazy. I personally don't like plucking them because it hurts like hell. But I use the nose trimmer and it's okay. It doesn't really get them good, but it'll clean it up for a little bit, and then I have to go back in and do it. So yeah, that's going on. Because of my age, there's other things that are going on, but I don't necessarily think it's because of transition. It's just age things. My arthritis is really coming out in my hands, especially in the last joint here on all my hands. And I've always worked hard with my hands, and I typed for 15 years before I changed careers. And my projects, I've always done projects at home, as I put on my video showing different things of our home. I've helped my family do big projects, so I've always worked with my hands and stuff. Emotionally, I just really go about my day. But because I'm a thinker and I'm a deep thinker, I process things in the world. I process things of my childhood and how things have changed. And I will come across once in a while where I will do something, and I try to think of an example, but I can't really think of one right now. But I think it's when I was in bed this morning, I started stretching. My inner self felt like my old self. And not that my inner self has really changed, but for a split instant, I didn't feel any different. And a lot of times, and I thought to myself, wow, is that a female feeling I'm having? But I think a lot of times, and I've said this over and over in our group therapy and our support, I truly, for myself, do not think that I've changed emotionally, how I process thoughts, my theories, my ideas. Um, there is a lot of times if I go without looking at myself, that I just kind of feel like I've always felt. Um, but the difference now is how I react with people. I don't feel like I need to prove myself anymore. I worked really hard in the last career where I got hurt on the job. It was in law enforcement. And I worked really hard to prove myself that I was just as good or could be better than some. And honestly, that was very stressful in my life because the first 15 years of my adulthood, I worked in the medical field and I've worked in the clerical area. And I always had supervisors, and they've always been women who have problems with their self-image or feel like they need to micromanage. Uh, Always, and my mom made this comment to me in the past, why do they always pick on you? And, I look back now, and it's just because I can multitask, and I'm the kind of person that if I'm going to do a job, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it the best I can. So I always excelled at work. And I think that was just a jealousy part on them. And it got to a point where I was tired of working around women. It was just bad for me. So I don't feel now, well, and when I went into my last career, I went to be with the boys. I loved being in uniform. It was perfect for me. I loved my job. Even though it was a negative world, I didn't take that negative inwardly. I let it just bounce off of me. And I just led by example. And I really enjoyed my job. Unfortunately, I got hurt, and there's a bigger picture than what I know. So when I go out every day now into my world, whether it's going to Lowe's or Home Depot, going to Tractor Supply for my horses, different places I go, I don't think about transition. I don't think about where I've come from. I don't think about, I just do my thing. But what I do get out of it, it's not that I pre-think it. What I do get out of it is the feeling of me being addressed and responded to as the person I've always been. And that, my friends, is because of my outer shell. And it's not that my inner shell has changed. It's my outer shell. Now, I will say, and when I say change, I don't mean little bits. Like you become more confident, you become, you have more respect for yourself. Those things do change, because if you are holding down a lot of you because the world doesn't perceive you as you perceive yourself, and then the world starts seeing you how you perceive yourself, it is going to build up more confidence. It's going to make you happier if you're doing the right thing for yourself. So in that, I'm like, I just feel good every day now when I go out in my world, because now I'm responded to, now I'm reacted to, now I'm addressed in the manner that I've always been. And it does build confidence. It builds a self-respect for yourself. It makes you, there's times where I say, and I've always done this through my life, so I'll have a moment where I'll say, why did I have to go through all that? What was my purpose? And then I let that flow. And then if I just can't come up with an answer, or I don't process maybe an optimistic way of thinking of things, I just say, I don't really know, but I know that it was for the better. And then I'll start thinking about, okay, what if I was born male? Well, I had an alcoholic father. He was, I don't know if I would have turned out different as a human being, because he would have been, I know how he was with me as female. He's very proud of me. I had my first motorcycle at 11. I'm the oldest. The boy didn't come to the fourth child. And so I was his boy. And And he never tried to change that. In fact, he embraced it. And I think, oh man, my thinking, my behavior would have been more egocentric. Would it been more guided by my penis? Just a lot of that mentality that a lot of males grew up in, and probably still are growing up in. So I thank God that I did have this journey, because what my journey has done for me is it has caused me, not forced me, but caused me to be a better person, to try to understand things, and slowly it forced me to question things in my life, to where I took myself out of a narrow-minded box thinking childhood with the adults around me, into pushing the edge, breaking down the walls, and being totally different than anybody in my whole family. But my inner faith and the way I accepted things, the negative things in my life, is that there's a reason for everything, and I may not know the answer until after death. I process a lot of different theories now. I watch a lot of different channels. I'm not a series. I don't watch a lot of TV except for like the Science Channel, the American History Channel, National Geographic Channel, the Food Channel. Not the Food Channel, but whatever known expedition, or anyway, those kind of shows, Ancient Aliens. And so what happens now, the way I was brought up in thinking how things were in this world have totally been smashed to pieces. And now I'm learning as an adult, things aren't what they painted you a picture of. They just wanted to keep you in control. They wanted to keep you down. And I was always different than my family, but some of the main things my family has said to me, responded to me, is, I don't understand it as far as with God and what we're taught, but I know that you have always been dependent upon God. You've always been spiritually connected to God. And I even think about that, I was taught how to worship God. I was taught how to lean on God. And I continued that through my whole life when things didn't turn out always the way I wanted them, or always question, why do I feel like a guy inside? Why is some of the women in my life respond to me as a guy inside, and then rip my heart out, So a lot of those things, I don't understand maybe total all of why I had to go through those things, but I know today that no matter what happens, if I was to lose Tony tomorrow, or if I was to die tomorrow, I know I've done my best in the situations I've been given, and I know that that is the main goal for humanity. We are supposed to respect each other, help each other, give to each other, receive from each other, love one another, be at peace and joy. That's the perfect picture. However, because we are humans, there will always be power trips, control trips, putting large amounts of people in fear to accept your ideology. And then you will have people who are embracing life and everyone in life as who they are and what they are. And so there will always be scales. And now for me, being over 6 years on testosterone and juggling how I feel now and living myself, I'll tell you, every morning I wake up and I go in the mirror and see myself, I cannot tell you the calmness and the appreciation and the just the in allness I feel just looking in the mirror and seeing me for once. You know, I mean, it's been 6 years, but for now, after 50 years of struggling and not liking to look in the mirror, but having to, and just keep pushing my way through, knowing, well, there's a reason for everything, and I don't know what it is, but I'll keep trying. Um, one of the things I don't understand is why it happens to us, and some of us have that biological same-sex attraction, uh, because a lot of people in our world lose their partners, and they could be with their partners 1 year, 6 months, and some 15, 20, 30 years, and they lose them through this. When we find ourselves, when we know there's answers now, when we can do something about it. And I thank God for Tony every day that she is capable of loving me regardless of my gender. And I don't take that for granted. I look back on my life with the people I've been with, and I have been with a couple heterosexual women, but because in the end I was biologically female, it just didn't work out. And I spent some time with them. One was 5 year period, and one was 6 year period. The 6 year period was actually a rebound from the 5 year period. But knowing this, I never made the first move towards those women. So I guess I have something in me that, attracts people. So overall, this is kind of what I process on a day in and day out. I go about my day. Yes, there's times I think about the transition and how would people treat me if I wasn't, And I already know the answer because I was that way for 50 years. But I can tell you today, if you're struggling with wondering if you should, you're older in life, and is it worth the time? It all depends on how you look at yourself in the mirror. If you find yourself not able to spend much time in the mirror, constantly having issues with body image, not being able to really be confident and go out and meet the world and be productive and be happy in your jobs and etc. Well, ask yourself this: wouldn't it be worth transitioning for the other part of your life to be able to love yourself, look at yourself in the mirror, and smile and just say, there you are? That's what I have. I'm only one person, but I do live by what I talk about on these videos. And whether it just touches one person, whoever, I don't search out for people to subscribe to me. I am who I am, and if you like what you see, you'll subscribe. Pretty much my videos are pretty much consistent with my theories and my feelings and what I've gone through, my experiences. So just remember, if you can't look in the mirror and you're questioning about medically transitioning, well, think about how you would feel about yourself if you saw who was inside in the mirror. All right, guys, take it one day at a time and always make your journey as simple as possible. And we will talk to you later. Bye.